Oh, hey, Kevin and Kristin.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, what do you wish for more than anything on around Christmas?
Snow?
Snowballs?
It's
snowing.
Wow. It's
beautiful.
snowing bubbles, everybody. Also, when you go to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, you often get one of these light up bubble machines. So it's
Really?
Show off.
Let's
Get some good
go. Forget this show. Let's just go to that show.
Okay, we'll see you next time, everybody.
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin. Oh yeah.
There he is. There's that guy. Hi,
It's
welcome
snowing.
to Remark. I am one of your hosts, Kevin.
That's correct. I am one of the other hosts, Chris. And of course, we have.
Mike G, third host.
That's correct. That's
Mike,
correct.
where you been? Where you been, Mike?
I told the fans, anybody who watched our review of 3 Wise Men and a Baby last week, that I would only be partaking in one show per weekend, as decided by you both, and we chose Julie Sherman Wolfe's A Holiday Spectacular. I gotta keep Mickey out of the frame. Gotta keep
You have to
Mickey out.
refill that? Is that refillable, or when you're done, you're out of bubbles?
I mean, yeah. Oh, I knew what you mean. Yes, you can unscrew the bubble.
Oh, very
the
good.
bubble,
Okay.
thing there.
Okay.
Refill. Yeah.
Okay.
How much is a refill though? That's some big bucks.
Pricey.
Yeah.
Pricey.
No, you support it.
You pour it right on in. So we are talking about A Holiday Spectacular, as Mike said. Mike will likely be back, though, when we get to the second Wedding Veil trilogy. I don't know if Mike knows they have announced that they are doing another one.
Did you
There
know,
was-
Mike?
I was gonna bring it up today. It was highly advertised during this live show, and it just kept saying the Wedding Veil trilogy. So I was like, are they just reshowing it? And then I looked it up. They are doing a whole new trilogy of fun.
Just for you.
Yeah.
That means they got our letters, and we're very appreciative.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Mike 3 weeks in a row. Well, no, we're not going to be talking about any wedding veils tonight. In fact, we're not going to be even talking about any weddings because no weddings happened, even when there may have been engagements in A Holiday Spectacular that aired on Sunday, November 27th, starring Gina Claire Mason, who was Glinda standby in Wicked on Broadway. There she is. Oh my God, I'd love to see that. Mike, you go to a lot of Broadway, do you, in New York?
I do. This was a very New York, Philly centric movie.
Oh, we'll talk about it, buddy.
Yeah. The rich people, those rich people from Philadelphia.
The main line, dude, that is a legit area.
And all us meat and deli mongers in the city.
No, yeah, that was that's right. Yeah. Oh yes. Philly is rich and New York is not. I don't know. Oh, that's accurate. Derek Klena from Moulin Rouge. And if you watched the Macy's parade this year and you watched the opening where they had the Moulin Rouge number, that was Derek that was in there as Christian. We have Eve Plumb is in this. You know her as Square Number 4 from the Brady Bunch. 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's accurate. And of course, Ann-Margret from
Yay.
every young boy and many young ladies' dreams growing up and going through changes.
Going through changes.
Yeah. My face
Did
is really sad for that.
Did you go through the changes seeing her again?
Yeah, but they're different changes.
Okay.
I'm getting older. I'm going through that change. It's very weird. I didn't know that happened.
I remember
and
Grumpy Old Men was my introduction to Ann-Margret. And yeah.
Feelings though, Mike. Probably same feelings.
Well, it was a very it was her and Sophia Loren. I was like, who are these very attractive, older women? So I was getting that sort of and then went back and looked and I was like, oh my gosh, they were also, they've been beautiful their whole lives. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, dude, Ann-Margret dated Elvis. So, like, you're talking.
Like, yowza.
So, and of course, the New York City Rockettes, the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. There they are.
Yay!
You recognize those outfits, and we'll talk about that. As Mike said, this was written by dear friend of the show, Julie Sherman Wolfe, who we know wrote Always Amore and the upcoming Hanukkah on Rye that will be out the first night of Hanukkah, I believe.
With guess who's in that movie? Is that Jeremy Jordan, also a Broadway star? I think so.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that him?
I don't know.
And I believe
maybe I'm giving false information.
Yeah, I don't know. But Paula Shaw is definitely in that. So one of our faves, one of our absolute faves. And this was directed by John Putch, who directed You Had Me at Aloha. But more importantly than that, he was Sean Brody from Jaws 3D.
We haven't had this is what I missed, really. It wasn't watching. It's not. I know it's not watching. Well, I'm leading into it. It's not watching the movies, or I haven't had a good Kevin Random movie reference in a while. So there you go, Hallmark fans. Jaws 3D reference.
Yeah. I have not seen that movie in quite some time. But yes, so we watched this movie. Do you guys want to hear the plot, just in case you forgot it?
Sure.
Right. All right, the plot is in 1958, Maggie is an heiress from Philadelphia. This is, hold on, let me just put this on.
Basically, this is just the story of my life.
I have a Santa hat as well. Let me put this one on. Wow. There, some Philly.
Kevin, I feel like that's too soon. Like, yeah, we want it.
Well, this was 2008, and it's too long. And now, if we had just won this last go around, it would have been so much better to rub in Mike's face. How did the Mets do, though, Mike?
It's this in the spirit of Christmas. Let's show love to all humankind and cities, including
Mike can end this broadcast right here, right now.
I will shut this down.
Shut it down.
More Jaws 3 references, less Philly sports references.
In 1958, Maggie is an heiress from Philadelphia who puts her high society wedding plans on hold in order to sneak up to New York City and make her dream come true, dancing live on stage in this Christmas spectacular at Radio City Music Hall.
Brilliant.
Oh my God. What a endeavor, I guess.
Endeavor.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing, little fun fact about Kristin, I've never seen a Radio City show. I've lived there for 5 years.
I don't believe that.
I've never been in that building.
Mike, you're not able to jump around the things, are you?
I could maybe bring it up aside here. I know where you're going with it.
Because lies have been told.
Well, let's save it for the fan. Like, if you stick around for this entire episode,
you will get. Kristin is a lying liar.
Okay.
We do. We will have some Rockette facts, so we'll bring them up. But so we start this film off in current time, where we see Grandma Maggie is, now not from 1958, and she is talking to Lucy, who's played by Ellie Graper, who played. There she is. She played Matilda on Broadway. So again, a lot of Broadway going on in this film.
I would be very curious if that was a goal, was to fill this show with stage actors.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's funny. At parts during this movie, I was actually I'm enjoying. The acting felt different in this film, but I think it was intentional and directed that way, and I didn't mind it most of the time. But a lot of times I was like, "This is really good." Like, I feel like these guys were all on the same page in the same movie. And then when I realized they were all Broadway theater actors, it made sense. It's like,
same. There's a different vibe because you're going to perform very differently on a theater or on a stage rather than when a camera. But I thought they all adjusted really nicely that fit with the right tone of getting a bit stylized for 1958, but at the same time, not overdoing it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, you don't think they talk like this in the 1940s?
I mean, what you're telling me is, oh boy, hey,
hey, a meat grinder.
In the film, we jump back to 1957 very quickly. And the whole purpose to doing that is because that was the debut on the parade. It was the first time the Rockettes danced in the Macy's parade in 1957. And that we see Maggie seeing it on television, and it obviously affects her. That's about it. Then we immediately jump right to 1958. We go, we don't have time to stay in 1957, and we move to 1958 when we see Maggie is actually going out and auditions. You know, we know she's engaged to be married to Maxwell, and she goes off to audition to be a Rockette. And
Look at
perfect Grace, right? And then Grace Kelly reference too comes up later in the film, Philadelphia's Own, and she makes it.
Yeah.
So Maggie is going to Broadway if she can figure out a way to get there, because she's supposed to be planning her wedding.
It's just interesting to me. I would have been the worst person if I had to be a woman in the 1950s. I think I would have been shunned. I think society wouldn't have accepted me, because the fact that she had to like ask her parents if she could go.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then her mom's like, I'll go with you. Like, the whole just scenario of why she couldn't tell her parents that she wanted to do this is a nightmare.
Oh yeah. Do you think you would have just broken the mold and been like, I can't deal with these societal constraints?
I don't know. I say yes now because I know what I'm capable of and that the world accepts it more now, but I don't think it would have felt as safe then. It doesn't feel that safe right now, to be honest, but
I feel like you would have been a Rose. You would have been a Rose. You would have been like Rose. You would have been watching over all the other ladies, making sure they were on time.
Yes.
Getting a free sandwich. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm here for the free sandwiches.
We used to do. Who would Kristin play? You know, remember that bit?
Yeah.
Who would Kristin play? There it is. There it is.
Yep.
That's all you need.
Yeah. So after fabricating a lie to her parents about staying with Kitty in New York City, Margaret becomes Maggie and takes a cab to a woman's home in New York City where the Rockettes are held. And there's Rose. There she is on the stoop.
There's Kristin.
There she is.
Ready. Look at her.
That's me, baby.
She reminds me of like Miss what's her name? Not Havisham.
Miss Hannigan.
Miss Hannigan. There it is. Miss Hannigan.
But a lot nicer. She's a lot nicer than Miss Hannigan.
She's waiting for Mr. Bundle to bring. Is that his name? It is. It's Mr. Bundle brings in the whites, brings in the laundry, and that's where Annie sneaks out. And then he flirts with her. Nah, you guys don't watch Annie.
Oh, you guys too much about Annie. I don't.
But I like that she's holding a broom. And Chris, we had a bit running for the first like 2 weeks of Remark where everything was related to witchcraft, and we just forgot and stopped.
We dropped it. So Rose is 100% a witch.
Yeah. So after quickly making, she also bumps into John here. This is where she meets John for the first time. There he is with his camera.
His camera and his cute little hat and his cute little scarf.
Oh man, the costumes in this,
dude! I said it on Twitter.
Yeah,
I can't even handle. I literally, from like the moment the movie started, I was like, I want that, I want that, I want that. That's the only thing that I would take from that era is that fashion sense. But at the same time, this took a while to do. Yeah. So like, I don't know if I want to do that every day.
They might have reached out to that whenever they shoot and this happens in every city, but I feel like it takes place in New York. They're often shooting New York in a previous period of time. So it's always fun. I would have liked to walk by this because I'm sure they were on some Upper West Side road and had to sprinkle a thing and get the old taxis lined up.
Yeah.
They probably borrowed like Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I feel bad. And Chris, I don't know if you have it handy. I don't have it in my notes. I know his name's Derek's. I believe his first name was Derek, the costumer.
On Twitter. I'll find it if you keep going.
He's on Twitter now, and we were talking a lot with him, and he was so engaged with people, and he was telling people what was store bought, like because he said, this is store bought, and he said I'll DM you, and it was just so awesome to have the accessibility to be able to talk to somebody about those things. Julie Sherman Wolfe.
His name is their name is Keith Nielsen.
Okay.
And you can find them at Keith_costumes.
Oh, awesome. And you should definitely follow. I know this must be early in Keith's Hallmark career because it doesn't seem like they have a lot of followers, but I would imagine that'll change very fast. So
yeah.
Julie Sherman Wolfe had posted a picture, Mike, of the road being closed off. And she said that's when it really hit her the day she showed up. And it was like, you're shutting down a New York
Street. Yeah. So cool. Well, because she said that they didn't shoot ever in Philadelphia. They just found like a Philadelphia-esque street.
Yeah, that theater. I think that was the only exterior was when she was at the theater auditioning. And it was like, yeah, it could be anywhere.
And I think she was walking at one point and she was outside and it looked like not North Philly. Ooh, Keith. Yes. But it looked like almost like Bryn Mawr, you know, again, main line. So
so after quickly making new friends, except for Janet, with the there's Janet, and it's kind of leaning away from them all. So she's like, I don't want to be part of you. I don't want to be friends. I don't need new friends. The newly cast Rockettes, Maggie, is immediately thrown into the deep end. She, Sophie, and Janet arrive at Radio City Music Hall.
Yay.
Wow.
I actually got some theatrical chills during this moment. I thought it was very nice. I thought a lot of the earnestness of the character, you know, and the feelings she was going through, I thought she did a great job as an actor. And then it was written well. Were those things? We're all performers, you know what I mean? Like that moment when you step out onto a stage, especially a place like Radio City Music Hall that you know it has the provenance or whatever. I thought that moment was really nice when she walked out.
Beautiful. The way they shot it out too.
I disagree. And a lot of people were saying online, oh, this is like CG. And it wasn't. They just sped up the drone shot and they shouldn't have done it.
I did think it was CG. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was it. And it was a drone shot that pulled back and they sped it up. But drones didn't exist in 1957, 1958. What? And that's, did you not know that? I wish they hadn't done that because looking even at this photo alone, had they just shot, it still would have held that weight and it would have taken you out of the time period. And that was my one complaint about that was like, wow. So
and actually that's a good point, Kevin, because that when they and this will come up as we go through their dance performance numbers, but I also thought those numbers took you a little bit out of it as well because there was no and maybe this is how the original production was, like there was no backdrops, but I find that hard to believe. You could tell that they were probably just in a generic theater somewhere, you know what I mean, and they couldn't use probably certain backdrop, like Radio Rockettes were like, all right, we'll give you the costumes, we'll give you some of the choreography, but you can't do a full thing here, you know what I mean? So that did take me a little bit out of it every once in a while.
We never got to see like a wide shot of them all on stage and people watching them.
Right. Yeah. And at that point, maybe they could have gone to stock footage. I mean, I'm sure they have footage throughout the years, but opted not to. They have their first rehearsal and soon thereafter they are fitted with their gold dresses.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
And she even talks about how heavy it is. So it's got literal weight and it's probably also got the figurative weight of what it is historically. So
that must be the coolest. Like just knowing something iconic like that, like don't be embarrassed, Kristin, but I watched some series about how people become Dallas cheerleaders. And like when the women got to put on, it's just like, I love watching the dance and how how competitive it is. And it's basically watching a dance competition. But when they get to put on their uniform, their boots, like it's just this thing of like putting on something that is so iconic. It's like Batman, like every time a new Batman probably puts on a Batman suit or like Spider-Man, it's like, whoa.
I definitely think when Spider-Man puts on a new Batman suit, it is definitely
whoa.
What if Spider-Man puts on that gold dress? Then that's whoa.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Tom Holland can get it.
Would look good in that dress.
Right. He could definitely. So more rehearsals. After which, both Maggie and Sophie go to Slatter and Son, the local market and deli. And they once again bump into John.
Yeah.
Hey, I work at my uncle's. This is my dad's deli here. This is what it is. This is my dad's deli. This here is my cousin. This is my other cousin. This one here, that's Denise. She's my cousin.
Hey, I guess I love my cousins.
Everybody's my cousin here, okay? You called it Slatter. Are we sure it's not Slater?
It might be Slater. Maybe it is.
Well, because
Slater.
I know that Julie was saying, I just referred to her as Julie. Julie Sherman Wolfe referred to a reference to her real life that she named that store after something in her life. I don't think she fully shared, but I thought that you can put like, you know, yourself injected in this creation of yours, which is really cool.
Yeah. She had a lot of names of characters and such that would come up. And that's exactly what she did. She would post it. This is why, again, watching these movies in 2022, it's really fun to have Twitter available and for as long as we have it until it's gone, which is, I think, in like 10, 15 minutes. But to be able to watch and see people in real time comment on things like that. And that's, you know, Julie Sherman Wolfe was doing exactly that. So
but Kevin, we might get 1 of 3 verified check marks soon in our future. You never know. Now there's different levels of verified. So
I'm looking for blue, baby. Let's get blue.
I don't even care. So there's more dancing. There's the montage going into the costume change, which is a big deal, to the wooden soldier to Times Square and doing that costume change. They talk about.
I think I've mentioned it before, but I taught color guard, and we would literally have rehearsals where we would practice transitions like that. And that made me smile when they showed that, because that's not something an audience thinks needs to be rehearsed. So I love seeing that behind the scenes thing. And I'm sure folks that didn't know that happened, when they go and see the show, it's probably like they feel like an insider.
Yeah.
You almost see, and Kevin, you haven't seen it either. Have you seen Radio City? Yeah. So you almost, it's for, as any kid that grew up within like an hour or two from the city, it's just sort of like you see it at least once, and it becomes a big like memory and family tradition. But yeah, you honestly feel like there's 50 people like backstage, and it's not. It's just really this group. Well, there might be 50 of them individual, but they're doing everything.
But like there's not different sets of them.
Yeah, and then this number again is the famous. This was, you know, them transitioning into it, and then they get to the falling down moment. But that's the iconic number.
It's so cool.
I thought they did a good job of, and I'd be interested to watch this with like a dancer or like a stage performer now, and just see like what they thought, because I actually thought they did a good job of sort of mixing the actors in with clearly like real Rockettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the transitions seemed like they were always dancing. I kept trying to like find the lead, you know, like the leads. I'm like, wait, are they in that shot? Are they in that shot? And actually, I thought they did a good job of not. You know, because they probably didn't know it exactly, but they must have rehearsed really hard to sort of match as closely as they could.
I'm sure. Yeah. I know. I am curious about that, of like, you know, when you go to audition for a movie like this, you obviously have to have a very other type of skill set, right? But the thing is, like, the Rockettes have a very, very specific skill set. So it's like, essentially, if you got into this movie, could you also be a Rockette? You know what I mean? Like, what was the level that they were looking for of like how to match the other Rockettes? Like I want to watch the whole behind the scenes.
I think that also lends to what you both were talking about, that these are almost all theatrical actors. These are people who movement is one of the many skills.
Well, they're all triple threats, because the guy is in Moulin Rouge. Like, she could sing as, so these are like, and that's the nice thing. I watch a lot of old movies and stuff, and it always astounds me that when you do find out nowadays that an actor can sing, and people are like, oh, don't let them do that. And it's like, no, that's what a performer should be, is very well-rounded. They should be good at this, and this. And it's like, I felt like for a while there were so many, like when they started doing so many musicals, like they did Chicago and then they did Mamma Mia, and people were like, oh, don't let, you know, Pierce Brosnan sing or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sure he's been able to sing his whole life.
That's probably how he started. Like, most of them start there. And that often happens too, where you're like, oh, really? They're going to sing? And then, oh my God, they're so good.
Oh my God. Like Chris, Hugh Jackman, that man should have been singing as Wolverine. I don't know.
Wolverine the musical. They're going to insert him into Rogers the musical. Chris, are you, would you call yourself a singer?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Chris, are you on a musical in the spring?
Oh, or you want me to prompt that we're in a musical together, Kevin?
Because I'm in it too. It's weird if I do it.
Listen, somehow Kevin and I were cast in the same musical.
Remark fans, it wouldn't be a complete show if Kevin and Chris didn't pitch an upcoming project that regularly at the Wilma Theater. Check them out at wilmatheater.com.
We're not at the Wilma Theater. Okay. That would be
amazing. Next year. We'll see what happens next year. So, then Maggie has to call home to her mother because she's kind of playing the long con here, and she's got to call from time to time, old school phone booth there. She's got to call and say, hey, I'm going to be here another 2 weeks. And she kind of tacks something onto the lie. So this is just, I'm meeting a lot of people. It's going to be really good for Dad's business. It's going to be good for Maxwell's business. Mm-hmm. And again, society being what it is, her mother's like, sounds great.
You know what's interesting is, I've never once in my life I've been asked, like, could you make sure you go to that party, dear? Because we need to be sure that the Cunninghams and the Reginalds know who you are. So that way our business does well.
The Reginalds know who you are. They know.
Like, I can't even imagine just always continuously being this pawn of like society.
Yeah, it's fascinating and it's bizarre. Mike, will you help me, the New Yorker that you are, because I can't pronounce a thing. Are you any better at this? I think
you're talking about
Tough and
yeah. I think it's just Tough Netties, but yeah.
Tough Netties.
I don't think, Tough Netties.
I think it's Italian.
But you can get other things. It's not just Italian food. It's a diner. But
No, so I'm saying the last name's Italian, you ding dong. I'm not saying
you
the whole diner's Italian.
This is where the girls hang out. They go to kind of commiserate after long days, and a lot of truth comes out from time to time here. So this is where Maggie, in this moment in the film, tells the girls that she is part of upper society, and they become, Janet being Janet is just kind of, not a care in the world. Sophia being awesome is like, can I borrow that red jacket?
Yeah, love it. Sophia, no filter. Give me that jacket.
So all of my notes always say Janet sucks. At the end of anything,
Janet sucks. She doesn't though.
Until the end. You're right. She has her time. We also find out that Sophia has a twin sister who is no longer with us. I did not this week make any dead anything alerts, and I'm so happy about not doing it.
Were you too touched? Because the last one we were too touched to make.
So if you watch our previous episode where we talk about all 7 other films that came out, there is a car accident that killed someone, and I just decided
we couldn't make it a bit.
So I didn't do it in any of the episode. I didn't do it for any of the other goofy ones. I was just like, I'm not.
So if anyone dies next weekend,
they're going back.
I even forgot that plot point. So hey, thanks for bringing me up to speed.
Yeah, so Sophia's twin sister had passed away, so she's kind of dancing for 2 in that way. She's always thinking of her sister, talking to her sister.
Yeah.
Then, speaking of things that are dead, we stop by Gimbals. Well, and once again, Maggie runs into John while shopping. She finds this wooden soldier pin that she's very interested in. And this was really cool. It was $26 on the tag. Somebody on Twitter had posted this, so take it for what it's worth. But I do think this is accurate. At the time, that was about $250. So if you think of it,
that's what I was wondering. I was wondering. Yeah.
So if you were just like $26, now again, she is, well-to-do, but she makes a point over and over to say, my family is not me. I don't have access to that. So.
Well, there was an interesting point when she got her own paycheck, right?
Yeah.
But they never showed how much they make. Because I don't think they wanted people doing the math to try and figure out essentially maybe what the current Rockettes make. I don't know. But I did like that they just didn't show how much she made. She was just proud that she made something. Yeah.
So, and that was Alice. We see Alice as the Rockette who is, she's been there for 10 years and she's starting to struggle with the idea of the end is near. A dance career is only so long. And Alice is starting to struggle with that. But at the same time, she's the one who is constantly trying to bring Janet into, everything and make sure she experiences every aspect of what the Rockettes are. And if you're basically pivoting from the Rockettes to Broadway, you're going to miss out on
You're
a lot.
missing the experience. Yeah.
I like the camaraderie of the women here. I think it's very similar to like the New York City Ballet Dance Company, not just women, that's women and men, but the idea of it is this lifelong group that you're a part of, and there's older dancers that are moving out, there's new people coming in. I would have loved in this movie, I think, and maybe we'll talk about it more at the end, to see a little bit maybe more of that I don't need full Black Swan, but I think we were like, it was everything was very happy the whole way through, and it would have been interesting to see a little more of like competitiveness, because my gosh, there must be like ridiculous.
There has to be.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like, no, Michael. But like, I liked that they didn't show these women just fighting against each other for something.
True.
So like that, I was like, cool.
Right. And I think too, because all three, it followed the three new members. And while I'm certain there's competition, and that was what Janet's motivation was, she didn't want to become friends because I'm competing against you.
She thought.
But at the same time, you have to have such anxiety being the three new people that they come in on November 1st. And by the end of Thanksgiving, they're up and running for 100 shows. And it's like, good freaking luck, man.
Yeah.
So
you can't mess up. Like, you can't mess up.
No. So then we have the Thanksgiving parade. The three girls are all dancing in the Thanksgiving parade. This is this year. This is 2022's Thanksgiving.
They
parade.
were so good. Kevin, are you proud of me? I watched that whole parade.
I am proud of you. Yeah.
Because I was like, Mariah Carey, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, man. We'll talk about your Spotify list. Julie loves most of it.
Julie?
Hi, Julie, not Julie. Listen, Mariah Carey rarely gets played in this house. So.
Wow.
Yeah. That's not an uncommon thing.
Shots fired.
No, not really. That's not an uncommon thing. I think that is like, I'm Team Taylor, you're Team Jake. I feel like it's the same sort of,
I'd vote down below, everybody. I feel like it's one of those universally loved, even if you hate it and don't want to you listen to it every holiday season.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin.
Well, then, listen, the comments might get real heated here, because then we go in the city. Once again, Maggie runs into John at the Christmas tree lot.
Very iconic.
Beautiful moment. He makes his mom and dad carry the tree back because and they were all too gracious to be like, and they're huffing
all right.
And then they go and they buy chestnuts. I got to tell you, I loathe chestnuts.
I don't like them either. I
figured, Mike, you're the city guy. What are we thinking about the chestnuts?
I like the nuts, the regular nuts, guys, like the candied almonds, those roasted ones. Yeah, those are real good. And I think those have, I don't think anyone still really sells chestnuts on the street. You can maybe get them around the holidays as like a gimmicky thing, you know what I mean, at some of the like hot dog stands, but no one does. Although I will say my mom, I think just again because she thought it was like a thing, she tried to make it a holiday tradition, would do it over like our fire, and they were terrible always.
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
It's got like a smell that it smells like garbage on a hot day, and I don't understand where the appeal came from.
Well, that's like whenever you're walking around Times Square, Mike's right. They have those hot dog stands, but like with them also selling like the candy pecans, whatever. Those smell so good. And they're delicious.
I think at this moment was super sweet though, because we got to get a little more Ann-Margret, because we kept cutting back to her as the narrator. And was it the daughter that said they were gross, or maybe Ann-Margret?
Yeah.
But then she was like, I know they were gross, but because of this memory with my loved one, I cheesed out a little bit on here, even though chestnuts are gross.
And I think that's it. I think there is nostalgia, and they bring up it's roasted chestnuts on an open fire, not pecans. So. And then once again, I don't understand it. Somebody really needs to explain this to me, but they do dance to some Christmas music. This at least is like kind of different and in the park.
I don't understand.
I don't.
You're like, okay.
It's weird to me. Yeah.
If I played like a song, you can dance to Christmas music. I don't understand.
I listen, I think there's a difference. if like you played a Christmas song and we're all hanging out and we're like, yeah, that's fine. But like romantically dancing to Christmas music has always been bizarre to me. I don't know why.
Fine.
Listen, if someone gets married at Christmas time and they have Christmas music playing, I will give you that. Sure, I get it. At the wedding, yeah.
Is it the lyrics that bother you? That you're like, why are you lovingly dancing when this song is about a baby Jesus?
About we three kings of Orient are. It's like, why is that? What has happened? I don't know. It's just always.
I think you have a problem with slow dancing.
Silent Night. That's a slow song. That seems like the weirdest song to slow.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think you have a problem with slow dancing to slow Christmas songs.
Yeah.
But like if Jingle Bell Rock came on, I'm gonna jam out.
No, you're right.
All I want, or Mariah Carey's All I Want.
Yeah, I will jam out to turn it off. You're right. Okay.
Kevin's jam out is just arms.
I have no opinion.
My legs.
You're very Wes Brown with his like.
Vote down below. Do you slow dance to Christmas music? I have zero opinion on this. I don't think I ever am. I don't hate it like Kevin does. I don't necessarily embrace it either. I would never do it.
I seriously don't think anyone on here likes Christmas music as much as I do. Because I listen.
Excuse me?
Christmas music.
You want to have like a Christmas music off?
Anytime you want. I'll tell you what. You bring your second, and I'll bring my second. Who are you going to bring as your second for this? Oh, this is it. This should happen.
Wait a minute. What? My second? Why do I need someone to help me?
No, because it's this. We're doing Hamilton rules. You know. I need. Speaking of society, high society, this episode's going to go on forever. So then we see them finally have their debut.
Hooray!
Dancing. And Mike was all too ready. And they very, very iconic red and green outfits that they still dance to this day. Those were the outfits that they were wearing that were worn this year in the parade. So
beautiful.
I hope that's not my Rockette trivia later. But and then there's the kick line, Mike. Show the infamous, famous kick line. This is so cool because this is what you know. I mean, right? This is what you think of when you think of the Rockettes.
Oh, absolutely. And it's here. Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
Did they create this, or did people? Because
I think it's based off of like the can a little bit,
right?
Yeah,
like that's what I was. Okay, great.
But I think I think they're like, and this goes back a little bit towards the. I thought the guy who played the choreographer was good too. He seemed very like New York choreographer. I bet he's somebody from something. Yeah, I think the specific instructions, you know what I mean, of how they do theirs with like the turn out and the foots this way is maybe specific, you know what I mean? And their synchronization is very iconic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, the dude from Moulin Rouge is in this movie, and there's a lot of can in Moulin
There
Rouge.
you go. Trivia. So much trivia today, everybody. Wow.
So then we go to we have a Christmas tree delivery situation, which I love that moment.
Look at these boys. Look at the sandwiches. All right. That's what got me excited. And that's what got Rose excited.
Which was great because they say, hey, do you want a tree? And Rose says, no, I'm Jewish. And I loved it. You know, again, Julie Sherman Wolfe talks about this a lot. She is Jewish. She writes a lot of Christmas movies. She's also got the Hanukkah movie coming up at the end of the year. But I love that, like, Rose speaks up for herself. And it's like, no, dummy. But then, of course, they are there with the second box and say, how about some sandwiches? And she's like,
you got pastrami?
Yeah, it's so good, man. And then the girls all decorate the tree together, bonding, making a nice moment, except for who's not in that picture? You got it. Janet. Where is she? There's Janet. I'm not going to decorate the tree. Yeah. What?
You're very affected by Janet in this film, Kevin. I don't know if Janet is the best sort of, fleshed out character to even hate at this point.
I don't hate her.
Even when she like came around to the fun and friendship, we never truly learned why. Like we know why, but it wasn't deep enough.
Yeah. Well, the actor must have held onto that. But Alice once again steps up and is the one who convinces Janet and everyone encourages it to plug the tree in to light it up, and she does. And
yeah,
it's one of those moments of just kind of breaking down that.
Also, that star, I have that exact star.
Do you?
Because it was my mom's, then it was my mom's, and now it's John and I's.
That's
like exact star.
Yeah, I loved, and the detail was the fat bulbs, because that's what there were, man. And seeing all the fat bulbs and all the deck, it was just so great. It was like so nostalgic. So then we get Kitty comes over and talks to Maggie and tells her she's not happy. Well, at first she's just not happy covering for her. And then John and his parents go and surprise Maggie and see her in the Rockettes. And both John's parents are completely blown away by this.
Look at this guy's smile. Come on.
Look at the leads. Their smiles were very good.
A dapper guy.
So, and then also we have the moment with Maggie and John outside where John talks about his dreams of wanting to go to NYU to really, do something with his photography, though that is not kind of in the cards. But do you have the video of the hand hold?
Yeah, I like that you included this.
I do, because it's like, that's like hardcore.
That's scandalous.
It is.
That's like he made it to third base. Like, over the glove. Look at her smile. Look, that is very sensual.
And then she lingers just enough.
Yeah.
It's like that moment in
Frozen. In Frozen, where she freezes.
Not Frozen. No, it's not Anne Rice. Shoot. What's the movie everyone always, Keira Knightley's in one of them, and like, what's his
Pirates
face?
of the Caribbean.
Nah, I'll figure it out.
Phantom Menace. Star Wars.
He does something with his hand, like he touches her hand and then goes, ooh, and people are like, the sexual tension.
Oh, I thought you meant Dead Zone for a minute. I was like, Christopher Walken? You went somewhere else.
No,
that's a whole different touch.
No.
But,
Jane Austen. It's a Jane Austen thing.
Sense and Sensibility?
One of those.
Okay, I'm with you. So then Sophie and Maggie talk, and Sophie kind of talks some sense into Maggie about the John versus Maxwell situation. She does not know that they're engaged at this point.
Right.
She just knows that Maxwell's a suitor, a gentleman caller. And then she does talk to Max on the phone, and then she and John later will walk to the Rockefeller Center for this.
Yay!
I can find one from back then. So you got it. This is the Hawkeye tree.
This is the Hawkeye tree.
I was going to say they haven't lit the new one yet.
Check out Hawkeye. Check out our Hawkeye series we did last Christmas. I think you'll really appreciate it.
I might rewatch the whole series because it's Christmas time. And to me, just as much as Die Hard is a Christmas movie, Hawkeye the series is a Christmas series.
I agree. Definitely agree. So then this obviously has Maggie second guessing everything to do with Maxwell. So she is staring off for a sign that will not come. No. You were the sign, Maggie.
She looks very like Down with Love. That's what makes me think. Remember that movie, Down with Love?
Ewan McGregor
and Ewan McGregor.
Oh. You think she's kidnapped, is what you're saying? Okay.
David Hyde Pierce. Oh my God, that movie was wonderful.
Speaking of people who can't sing, a little iffy in that one. A little iffy. Cameron Diaz, right?
Oh,
I thought you were talking about this movie.
No.
What?
When did Cameron Diaz? Wasn't she?
No.
What
it was Renee Zellweger, and there was no singing until the very last number because they realized.
You're right. What's the movie where Cameron Diaz is kidnapped by Ewan McGregor?
Ordinary.
Yes. Life Less Ordinary?
Life Less Ordinary, yeah.
That's it. And they sing. All right, whatever. Anyways.
Cut to the mom. Look
at this mom.
Yeah.
I put that up really more for the outfits than the mom.
That's beautiful. Like, look at all the outfits back on the rack. I want all of them.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, so are we at the point where mom and dad do come to the city because they're like, what's our daughter doing?
Yeah.
And she has to keep up this mirage.
Yes.
And the moment the mom's like, what are you wearing? Which she was wearing the most gorgeous, like Kelly green jumpsuit with a red sash because it's Christmas time and she looked baller. it was because she was wearing pants.
That's right. Scandal. And that was preceded, early in the film when Maggie's going out, she tells Sophia, she says, I can't go out, I'm in pants. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
We're walking to work. What are you talking about?
We're walking yeah.
So yeah, how bizarre, how unbelievably bizarre. But yeah, she's scandalous wearing pants.
So she got that gorgeous dress though. But then, are we there yet, Kevin?
Well, this is where she's, like you said, Chris, she's running back and forth. And finally, Mr. Matthews, the director, says, listen, what's going on? And Maggie kind of comes clean to him. And he says, you need to take a day off. And I love this because, once again, this is the beauty of Twitter. Julie Sherman Wolfe posted, she was in Radio City Music Hall when they debuted this film, and a lot of the Rockettes were there, and they all snickered because that don't happen.
No way. When he was nice,
yeah,
and he was like, I'm gonna put in one of the swings for you. There's no way. No way.
I think that's what I was getting at before too, Chris. Like less of like the animosity between like the women, you know what I mean? But sort of just more of the realistic nature
more
of what theater would be. Yeah.
So then she does go to dinner to meet her mother and father, and who is there as well?
Max.
And he does this.
I ordered for you. Which of course
I also don't hate Max.
Yeah.
He, in the end, cool dude, right?
I mean,
he's not cool, but he's not a dick.
No, Max is very similar to, and I think his name was Max by him. And as a matter of fact, in Tale of Two Christmases, when we reviewed that, Max, and he's very similar. Where it's like he's kind of boring, like he's just a dull dude.
He's just there's not much to him.
Yeah, and we've seen movies. Chris will know the one, but the Tyler Hines film with Aaron Krakow, I think, was in it, and like she was engaged to the dentist, and he ends up going off with this hygienist.
Dental assistant.
They're so boring, and it's like it's perfect. Like that's and that's what this is. It's like Max will find a hygienist, and he's gonna be fine.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
So, but then she and John talk because, then she and her she comes clean because they give her Rockette tickets, and she's like, I am a Rockette. Like this is I've been dancing. Her father is the whitest white guy that ever whited.
Dude.
And her mother is just, I guess, flummoxed would be the word.
Well, that's like I almost made the tweet of like my mom reacted the same way when I told her I wanted to be a video store clerk. Like you know what I mean? Like like it's just like she didn't say she wanted to be. Yeah. I don't know. Nothing should be upsetting.
It wasn't even she wanted to be. It's I am a Rockette. And it's like, maybe cut her some slack and be like, holy crap, can you get us free tickets?
The one thing that I said on the Twitters and Julie Sherman, and I thank Julie Sherman Wolfe because we had John's plot line of him trying to be an artist in some capacity. And we had Maggie's and all these other women trying to make it as artists in some capacity. And that's kind of what I thought this story was about, was just that when you want to be something in the arts, you have to know that you have to love and work so hard at whatever you choose. Yeah. And you have to also have the thickest skin because people will say no. And it's within every field, which I'm sure Julie, which is why I thought some of it was like so beautifully kind of like woven in. I'm sure as a writer, she's gotten no, and knows exactly how that feels. So to me, I felt like this was like a love letter to anyone that decided to go and become an artist of any kind.
You know, and Mike, if you play that video one more time, it's what I really like about this. And when she's speaking later, I don't want to, we're kind of going right into that anyhow, because when she goes to John to tell John that she has told her parents this, and John's about to mail his, letter to, or I guess John has already told his parents that he wants to go to NYU.
Yeah.
That look of satisfaction in her, it's like, I've taken control of my life.
It's pride.
And when she talks to John and she tells him, I broke off my engagement, and that's the thing that sticks with him. In my notes, I wrote, John's a dummy. And I do feel like he was being a dummy.
He was a little dumb in that moment. Yeah.
Because he gets all upset and angry. And like he says, I chose New York and being a dancer and you, but I love the fact that she put the order that way, where it was like, I think her choosing New York was so important because she left. Like that was her leaving the family. And like, yeah, she went to be a Rockette. She knew she was a Rockette, but she left her family. So she went to New York, and then, there's the dancer part. And then there's John. And obviously, spoiler, they end up together because he's an old man at the end of it. Sorry, guys. But there's something really awesome about like, that's not what it's about. That's not what this film is about.
No, exactly. It's about it's what I said about being an artist and also just being proud of that.
Yeah. And she's she's committed. She's already, it's almost a throwaway line, but it's so important. She's already talked to Rose about staying on at the women's house during the off season. And she's already talked to people at Gimbals about getting a job. So like, this is not a person who is like, gonna just do this and then be like, okay. And that was what Janet kind of accused her of, is you have this safety net. And it's like, but she really doesn't. Like,
she doesn't, because it was taken away immediately when her father said, then if we don't see you tonight, then don't come home. And I thought that was a really, because I thought her mom was like going to be the major problem, and her mom was the one that lingered and then saw the pride on her daughter's face and smiled back at her and probably felt like, I was arranged to marry your father. Yeah. I'm probably not as happy as I put on, and then, this photo when these two sweet, completely different mothers meet.
But dealing with a lot of similarities, the idea of we have a plan for our child. Yes. And then the child says, I am autonomous and have my own plans.
Yeah.
So, and both of these women, they connect over that. I liked this. I liked that they were both very honest. I believe it's Elizabeth, is Maggie's mother, tells, I forget what Eve Plumb's character's name is, but she tells her, I was coming here to tell Maggie not to do this. And she said, have you seen your daughter?
Have you seen your daughter? Yeah.
And then she goes back and she sees her daughter dance with John and with John's mother. And it's like life-changing for her. And then she does meet up with Maggie afterwards and tells her, this is what you need to do. I'm so proud of you. And then she even says, I met John. He's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
And it was just like, oh, okay. Mom's fully.
Can you imagine if I moved to New York and hid from my mom that I was going to acting school and improv classes, and then someone was like, but have you seen her? But she's hilarious.
Her character is second to nobody. So
that goes back, I think, to the point where we were saying, like, it's the Rockettes. Like, you must have. It's not like some underground theater company or like
she's doing like
basic level. Like, she's on starring in one of the.
That would be like us hiding from our parents, so we got on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
and then them finding out and them being like, they got to stop doing this.
The show, it's a flash in the pan.
It's a dud.
50 years.
Now being a photographer instead of continuing the legacy of Slater and Son, I'm with that dad.
I'm with that dad. Oh yeah,
I would totally force my son to continue the meat.
Those are deli meats. Those are
do you know how thin he can slice that meat? I mean, that is.
Yeah. He said, "Can you?" He asked him. He's like, "Can you make money doing this?" And that was John's first lie of the movie.
Yeah,
when he was like,
yes,
"Yeah, of course."
Back then, maybe it was just him and Ansel Adams. Who else was there? Then
it all works out.
And it works out really for everyone. Mr. Matthews sees Alice, and Alice is hanging it up after this year, and he asks her to be a dance captain and sometimes fill in. So like that works out. Before Maggie dances, the pin is brought to her that John had bought her. And then, her mother sees her afterwards. And John also took up a job as a waiter, clearly, based on this.
He's James Bond. What do you mean?
He's James Bond.
So, before we get into I guess we can do it. We'll do it at the end. What are we talking here? What are we talking, guys?
Well, you mentioned how dapper John looks, so shall we keep talking about John, everybody?
Talk about dapperness.
Let's do it. It's time for Hallmark Holiday Hunks Objectification. Page 3.
Did you
didn't
see
ask me if I was a singer, but I am a singer. What?
I
saw the new mistletoes are very cute. Yes.
Yeah, that was old school.
We're talking hot dudes.
There he is.
Look at this dude.
Hot dude.
Okay, so we're gonna objectify this actor's appearance in this role and his character. So I'm gonna start with Mike on this one. I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once see, I'm gonna let it be biased. I have a score, and then once I realized they were all New York Broadway actors, like I feel like I upped my scores just because I thought that was a nice touch. Meanwhile, this guy, he's very cute. He's got a very nice smile. I thought they both really clicked well together. He didn't really have any ill intentions. He wanted to be an artist too. It was very nice. But at the end of the day, nothing like too crazy or wild about this character. So I'm going to give a nice solid 7.8. 7.8.
Lovely.
Wow. Yeah.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
Kevin?
I agree with a lot of what Mike said. He didn't really jump off the screen to me. I didn't feel like it was some burning, fiery romance. There was something, again, it's 1958, but there was something really nice about the fact that Maggie was betrothed. That's a terrible word. It's a terrible situation. But the fact that like this was a friendship in her mind, she said that early on to him. It was, I don't think, ever a friendship in his mind. But they're walking around and she's seeing the city, and he's essentially like the escort or the tour guide because it's his city. And it was nice. It was romantic. But again, it didn't get my motors running.
Right.
Chris will say. So, but I enjoyed him. I'm going to give him, I'll bump it up. I'll give him a 7.5. 7.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I agree with the not like, because to me, he wasn't the main.
No.
I was more focused on these women's journey. So he was just like eye candy once in a while. And I love that style of clothing on female or male identifying like fashion. So adorable outfits. He suited it well. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you put a period costume on someone, they just look wrong. It suited him really well.
Yeah.
Also, can I swim in his dimples? Like there were moments where like, I don't even know. It was like the deepest of like, it was almost like Cary Grant's dimple on his chin, but like they were here.
He's got that too. He's got the chin dimple as well. So yeah.
I'm like, whoa, dimples. So yeah, I don't hate this guy. I'm not obsessed with this guy. I'm like, this guy's cool. So I'm giving him a 7.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Across the board. All right, let's see it. Let's review it, everybody. I've got some bonus. There's our scores right there. very, very fancy, very fancy. I actually have some bonus reviews for you, Chris, here. Kevin, you can weigh in as well. Yeah, because I got a lot of like 1940s, 50s newsboy vibe, you know what I mean? And the hairstyle had me thinking about some other people that were maybe dealing with betrothals to richer people. And so your first one is a no-brainer. I mean, come on. That's Now I don't know, Chris, were you a Leo?
This was no.
Yeah.
I never was.
That's your Mariah Carey.
I figured, yeah.
So this is what's interesting is I think I was like, I didn't watch Titanic, and then I watched Romeo and Juliet, and I liked Claire Danes. I was attracted to Claire Danes. So I was like,
all right, so no score. So low for Leo.
I don't know. 5.
All right, I got one more for you. How about a little Christian Bale from Newsies?
Christian Bale showing up a lot in this week's Remark because he showed up from American Psycho in the last episode.
He did. Funny. Yes, in this movie, yes.
Okay, cool.
What movie is that? Oh, that's Newsies.
That's Newsies.
For a minute, because when you started saying it, Mike, my brain went Swing Kids. So when he showed up, I'm like,
very different. Very different.
I thought he actually looked the most. We're going back to theater here for like this is Jeremy Jordan, who
that's
is the
Jeremy
lead.
Jordan.
Yeah.
I think it is the same. Maybe it's the same.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah.
But Newsies, listen, if you're a dude and you can sing and dance,
Uh-oh.
I did lie.
The scandal in the 59th minute. It all comes out. So hopefully you made it this whole episode, everybody.
Yeah, anybody who bailed, that's on you. Guys, it is Jeremy Jordan. I just looked it up on IMDb.
Oh my God. I forgot I was a Rockette. I'm so sorry.
Swing. Well, swing.
I was a swing.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't get the costume. Yeah, you had to go on in your t-shirt.
So I thought it would be cool to throw out some Rockette facts. Some of the Rockettes actually tweeted the night this aired, and some of them are just things that were on there, and then some are things I pulled myself. But one of the things is Rockettes must be between 5'5" and 5'10" and a half in stocking feet. They recently changed that requirement. It used to be 5'6", so they went up a whole inch. So so went down a whole inch technically.
Oh, down a whole inch.
As we said, the Thanksgiving Day Parade, the first time they participated was in 1957. They mentioned this in the film, and it's very interesting. It is a true fact. The quick change between the Parade of the Wooden Soldiers and the New York at Christmas is 78 seconds, and they do practice the hell out of that to get that down.
It's so fun. Quick change.
And then to think of that rehearsal schedule, they do 6 hours a day for 6 days a week for 6 weeks leading up to the Christmas Spectacular. So every Rockette does their own hair and makeup before the show. So that's why you do have wildly different looks, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that.
And then that wooden soldier number has been in the show since 1933. That's like King Kong, man. But I wanted to point this out because, again, this was I love seeing representation, even if it's not historically accurate. And I think it's great that people know it's not historically accurate, but I think it's stupid if you call it out and then go, that's not
why they do this. They're being so woke. It's like, shut up.
You're watching this in HD, so don't be an asshole. You can sit there and do that. But in 1987, I think it's important to point this out. In 1987, when only 20 years old, Jennifer Jones went to an open call for the Rockettes. Of the 221 women who auditioned for the 26 open spots, she was the only African American, and she made the cut and became the first African American dancer in their, at that time, 62-year history. So it's awesome.
It's
way late. But so and I think that is those sorts of things are important to know, but also
but I thought what this movie did was very correct. They also had another woman with like a different arm and a different like it just. And I don't mean to be I don't want to be, I don't think I'm saying that correctly, but it was just like there was a lot more diversity, which is what should have been from the start, right? And the people that were moaning about it need to realize.
In fairness, I didn't see a lot of people being negative, but they were kind of pointing it out as like just that whole like and that is right in the middle. There is our dear friend.
Woohoo!
Some of these are
must
real
have been awesome.
Both featuring both levels of diversity there.
Yeah,
wonderful.
So
and the costumes, we love the costumes.
I'm obsessed with the costumes. Oh my God!
With their department.
All right, Kevin and Chris, final reviews, thoughts on this film compared to the weekend.
I really loved it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome to see them do a period piece like this. I don't remember a period piece like this, to be quite honest, where the entire thing was set. I thought they were going to be jumping back and forth a lot, and they really didn't. We only saw Ann-Margret a few times as telling the story, but I thought it was really special. And I'm sure that a lot of people, especially from an older generation, took a whole hell of a lot more out of it. And it's probably going to be one that's going to be around for quite a long time.
I think so. Yeah. I really enjoyed it as a love story between a person and what they do in life and finding that. That was what I really, really liked about this movie. And then I found that inspirational because again, the two people's love story really wasn't on my radar like the whole time. So I say watch this because you'll just feel inspired after you watch it, you know.
And then start dancing.
And then just
start
dancing.
Well, not the Christmas music.
Not to Christmas, not to Mariah Carey. I thought this movie is a good a trend in the right direction, like you all are saying, that these Hallmark movies can take a different viewpoint or, you know, or have a different plot line that doesn't have to do, again, with the tropes, you know, that we see and checks off the bingo cards. And so I would have loved more, like maybe like more history that Kevin gave and more, you know what I mean? A little bit. I think anybody who's like not from New York would probably love this too, because it's very sort of like, oh, cool, that does happen, and it's been such a tradition for forever. So yeah, I think it was nice that they really focused on the dancers and you know, everything that they were doing. I thought it was very like a very easy movie, you know what I mean, for what that's worth. You know, it was very, very straightforward, very enjoyable. The actors were all great. I thought it was great they used all New York actors, and I thought it was great that we had a witch as the head of the women's house, and a winter wizard that could make it snow on command. Everybody.
Galinda the Good Witch.
Galinda the Good Witch. I also purposely didn't watch the lead dudes singing in Moulin Rouge because that would have, I can't compare him to Ewan McGregor. I would have been off the director's
scale. This a little bit, like just a skosh, but he did sing. So
yeah. We did it!
Very wet. Yay!
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin. Oh yeah. Is anyone else dancing? We're dancing.
I'm
We're dancing.
Christmas music.
We're dancing. Christmas music.